Hi guys, here we are. It's the Jimmy Page version of the EDS-1275 double neck guitar from rareelectricguitar.com. A little bit about them first. They are a company located in China. The luthiers are from Japan and Korea. And the workmanship, I think, is really a notch above a lot of the guitars you find on the major clearinghouse websites like DHgate or AliExpress. This is a very well-made instrument. When I ordered the guitar, just under 4 weeks from the time I ordered it until it showed up on the doorstep. Just to tell you a little bit first about the legalities around these things, they call it a replica guitar, and it is, in every aspect of the word, an actual replica of a Gibson double neck guitar. Gibson would call it a counterfeit because it's an unlicensed replica. If you do order one of these, legally you can certainly own one. You can import one legally now and again into the US. What you cannot do is order them in bulk because they'll flag that as intent to distribute, and you cannot distribute or manufacture these guitars legally in the United States. That means if you decide to sell it, even if you tell someone it's a replica, you will be breaking the law. So please don't do that. If you order one of these, it's for your own use. And again, I'll leave the moral aspect up to you guys as to whether you believe in that or not. But again, legally you can order and own one of these. The guitar is very well made. I was actually quite impressed with it when I got it. I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to play it because everybody changes the wiring. I've already changed the wiring in this, and everybody will change pickups, so it's going to sound different by the time everyone's done with them anyway. As a tech, someone who works on guitars for professional musicians, I'm going to go through all the aspects of this guitar, what's right about it, what's wrong about it, where it needed help and so forth, to give you guys a very good idea of exactly the quality that you'll get if you order one of these guitars. First of all, it is the most accurate replica that I've seen coming out of China. A lot of the double necks will have 22 frets, which is not correct. This one has the correct 20 fret configuration. It has the correct arrangement that Page had with the 6-string pickups uncovered, the 12-string pickups covered. It has the exact right body shape, the exact right pickguard shape, so everything on this is beautifully done. They even have the correct spacing for the inlays and the two different frets. That the 12-string neck is a little wider and the inlays should be slightly different. On this guitar they are. So again, the attention to detail, very, very good. According to the company, they actually use Gibson's blueprints and measurements off the exact guitars. And I think they probably do, because this is the closest replica I've ever seen of an actual Gibson double neck. So again, very well done. The body is solid mahogany. I wrote out and changed some of the electronics in it, added switchcraft switches, which required a slightly bigger cavity, so I had to increase the size of that. So I can tell you for sure, it is a solid mahogany body. There is no plywood, and they promised mahogany, and that's exactly what it is, rosewood fingerboards. Very well done. The necks themselves do have the scarf joint. Very difficult to see with the covering on it, but if you look very, very close, it is there. Please don't let that concern you. The scarf joint, if it's done right, is a very strong joint, and you should never have any problems with it. They do custom work, so if you wanted to talk to them about maybe doing a one-piece neck, they might be willing to do that, but I didn't see that as a priority. So I'm going to go through all of the particulars about this guitar, as I said, and what I found really appealing about it. We're going to start right at the head of the guitar, go all the way back through the body. So here we have the headstocks. A lot of the guitars coming out of China, from what I've read, the tuners are not of very good quality. On this one, they're actually very, very good. They're very smooth. I had no trouble with tuning stability. As you can see, they are the Frankenstein green, which a lot of people are not going to like, and you may want to change them anyway. You will notice on this that one or two of them are perhaps a little bit crooked. Not a whole lot, and certainly when I change out the tuners, that's going to be easy enough to fix. But again, Gibson would have been precise. This one is close enough for government work, as they say. But the quality of the tuners is very good, so you don't have to worry about that. And again, pretty nice job on the headstocks. It has the custom shop truss rod covers. I did adjust the necks in them. The relief was a little bit more than what I like. It was good, but it just wasn't quite perfect. Truss rods worked fine, no problems with those whatsoever. Quarter turn, so maybe a little more, and they were perfect. So again, not a bad job. The nuts are actually cut reasonably well. They're not too low, too high, pretty comfortable to play. So again, not a bad job. They are plastic, and again, some people may want to make a custom nut for those, bone and whatnot. But again, you know, for a $600 guitar with case, very, very good job on the headstocks. Here we have the necks. Again, set neck on this guitar. Binding is done really nice. The fretboard is perfect. I mean, it joins the neck beautifully. You can't even see any, it looks like one piece literally. So they did a very nice job on the bindings. Nothing separating, it looks perfect. The neck angles are actually right on. So again, no problem setting up the action. It was done beautifully. As you can see with the inlays, again, you know, they're very, very well done. No gaps. Everything fits perfectly. Everything is centered perfectly. Again, did a nice job on those as well. I will say that what surprised me is they had actually leveled the frets on this guitar, and they put the effort in to do that, which did surprise me, so there was no buzz when I first played it. And I can tell that they leveled the frets because they put no effort to crowning the frets. So the frets were pretty flat in places where they'd run the file over it, and I did have to crown the frets. So that is one of the things that you're going to have to do with this guitar. If the frets weren't crowned properly, it's not going to feel as good when you play it, and it may throw some of the notes out of tune as well as you move around on the neck. So it was something that had to be done. Again, a little bit of time with a crowning file, and they were good to go. The action is set up right now on this one. I've adjusted it, so it's actually a little bit better than Gibson. We have 3/64ths of an inch on the treble side on both necks, about 4/64ths on the bass side for both necks. 6-string neck I have set for about 1/100th of an inch of relief, about 1/8 thou on the 12-string to make it a little flatter and easier to play with the tension. Very comfortable guitar to play. In fact, maybe one of the most comfortable that I own. So again, very, very good job on the necks as a whole. Here we have the body. Again, beautifully done. Exactly the right contour and shape. Everything is perfect. All the details on it are perfectly done. The finish is very nice on this guitar. I can't find a single flaw in it. Just really, really, really beautifully done. The joints look really, really tight, so I don't think there's going to be a problem with those. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of work for the most part. Pickups were Wilkinson. They actually sound really, really good, and they're supposed to be very close to the PAF pickups according to their website. And I can honestly tell you, I'm happy enough with the pickups that I won't feel the need to upgrade them. I think that they're just a really decent pickup for a budget pickup. I don't think that they're wax potted. But the original PAF pickups back in the day weren't either. And these aren't high gain monsters that you're going to play a lot of metal on, so it should be fine without the wax potting even on this particular guitar. The pickguard does have a little ripple in it here where it's not laying completely flat. I think maybe, again, a little squeezed by the two pickup rings, so I'm thinking maybe if I remove just a hair of material and then flatten it out, I can put a little bit of heat on it to soften it, and then clamp it between a couple of books or something to flatten it out while it cools. These are 3-ply pick guards. The Gibson would actually have 4-ply, which would be a little thicker anyway. I'll probably take these and send them out to someplace like Greasy Groove, you know, a website, and have 4-ply pick guards made for it, because it'll just make that white pop a little bit, and certainly again make it look a little more accurate. The wiring in the guitar was not done properly. They had basically 2 3-way switches, and on these particular guitars that's just not going to work. Gibson uses a double pole, double throw switch for their neck selector. Epiphone, they get around, they only use 3-way switches, but they get around the problem by adding a 3rd 3-way switch, which will solve the problem. But on this one you definitely will need to rewire the guitar. In the configuration they had it, the neck pickup would not work when you selected the 12-string neck. You only got the bridge. And of course that's not very satisfying. They also had the neck selector in this position and the pickup selector down here, which is the proper thing for most of these double neck guitars from Gibson. But Jimmy Page had actually changed that. He actually put the neck selector down here. He was afraid that he might bump it here while he was playing, and he wanted it out of the way, so he put it down here. So when I redid the wiring, I made that change. In order to accommodate the Switchcraft switches, the cavities that were routed here were a little bit too small, so I used my Dremel tool with a sanding drum and just enlarged that cavity a little bit to be able to fit the proper switches. Not a big deal, and certainly safe enough to do, and everything is covered obviously by the pick guard, so that it's not a difficult mod. I used some good quality wire, and the pots themselves were the mini pots, which are not a very good quality. They worked, but again, not something that I would personally want in a guitar. It is something that, again, a lot of Epiphones use, a lot of Fenders coming out of Asia have. So I did switch those to full-size pots. I did use Borns, which are a very good quality pot, and the advantage of the Borns is that they will fit the Asian knobs with the coarse spleens. So again, that means you don't have to buy a set of knobs. If you use CTS, you're going to have to also remember to order a set of knobs since they won't fit. The bridges they're fine, that they intonated fine. The positioning is spot on, so for intonation that was not a problem, and that's a good thing. The quality of them is not the best, I wouldn't say. So again, now I did speak with them at the time about the possibility of putting Gibson bridges on a guitar, and as they're a custom shop, you're dealing with the factory, they would do that. They wanted $120 per neck to actually install Gibson bridges. I decided to forgo that for now. I'm going to use the Faber conversion posts and upgrade the bridges at a later point. So again, that will change. But again, you know, for now they're fine. No real big problems. The tail pieces are all the way to the back, which is what the Jimmy Page guitar has. It does create an issue with the G string here, finding one that's long enough. And again, there's no real off-the-shelf 12-string sets that will fit this. Now, what they use is Diodario strings for the 12-string, and then the .008 string that would be here, which is too short, they replace it with a .013 string, which is going to be long enough, and that's basically how you end up with 12 strings. The other choice is to have a set custom made by a custom string maker, and again, you know, Guadalupe strings here in LA will do that for, it's like $21 a set and about $12 shipping for up to 6 sets, and they can make them up to 46 inches long. You're going to need a string for the 12 strings from the tailpiece to the furthest tuning pegs is about 39 inches, so you'll need a string about 41 inches long if you're going to wrap it. So that's a bit of an issue, but again, nothing that can't be solved. Everything else, you know, again, nice and straight, everything is perfectly positioned. The road on the back is beautifully done. Again, you know, cover fits like a glove. Everything lines up perfectly. The screw holes are perfectly spaced. The road inside was done to Gibson spec. It's just a smack-on, perfect job. You know, what can I say? They did a really nice job on this guitar. The only other thing I really noticed about the guitar that I forgot to mention is a couple of strings do pinch a little bit in the nut. Now again, that could be filed out. And with the plastic that does happen sometimes. I'm going to use a little bit of nut sauce, which I think will lube that up and just allow it to tune up a little easier. But again, you know, $660, comparing it to the Gibson, you know, Gibsons are Gibsons. And again, everything is going to be straight. The tuning machines are going to be straight. Everything is going to be precise. So obviously it's going to be the best quality guitar out there. If you compare this to the Epiphone, again, you know, the Epiphone version of this guitar is plywood. This is solid mahogany. I think that the build quality of this is going to be comparable to the Epiphone, maybe even a little bit better in some respects. So in my mind, again, and the Epiphone used, we're looking at about $1,200 if you buy it used. This one's $660 out the door with a hard case, about half the price. Even by the time I figure $100 for parts for the wiring, maybe some new bridges. Again, I'll have a better quality guitar than the Epiphone for less than the price. Again, if you're going to buy one of these guitars, don't expect to be able to play it straight out of the box. It is going to need a little bit of work. The frets needed a little bit of work on it. The wiring needed a little bit of work on it. Things like that. So it's, again, that's par for the course with most of these guitars. But I would say that the Rare electric guitar, definitely a notch above a lot of what I've seen. Very solid instrument, a great deal of fun to play. Just having the time of my life with it, it's an absolute blast. And so again, highly recommended. And I think if you're going to order a 12-string double neck guitar, a Gibson EDS 1275 replica, I think Rare electric guitar is the only way to go.